In this video, I'm going to test the Wildlife Extreme stress test on the little Xiaomi 15 with latest Snapdragon 8 Elite. Diagonal of the screen is 6.36 inches, guys. But before that, I'm gonna go inside the settings in the battery and I'm gonna choose performance mode. Now, there is no indication that this affects benchmarking, but nevertheless, let's try this. And another fun fact here, besides the 3D Mark Extreme stress test, we're starting from 30.3. I'm also going to be running the PerfDog performance testing tool on the background to just be able to measure the milliwatts consumption, because I just want to see how much maximum power is the Snapdragon 8 Elite drawing while doing the Wildlife Extreme stress test. Why is this a stress test? Well, it just runs 20 rounds of the very same Wildlife Extreme scenario and then measures the best loop score and the lowest loop score, and based on this difference we get a stability rating at the end. But if the difference between the highest loop score and the lowest loop score isn't big, then you get a high stability rating. So at the end, I'm going to analyze the results from the 3D Mark Wildlife Extreme stress test and also check the performance with the data that we're gonna get from PerfDog. And while I'm doing the test, you can enjoy this data here in real time. The FPS, the CPU, and you can check the GPU is already burning 100% GPU allocation, and we are drawing a lot of power, 11, 12, 13,000 milliwatts. So we're operating between 8 to, I would say, 14 watts power. We are drawing a lot of power, constantly more than 10 watts, and this is really extreme. So let's see what's going to happen at the end. And by the way, let's also see if the Xiaomi 15 is going to survive, because I did it once in my full walkthrough and it survived. Then I updated the system software, so now let's see what is going to happen, and I'm very thrilled to analyze the results at the end. Keep watching, and if you like videos like this, just go and watch the previous one for the Xiaomi 15. Oh, and now the phone overheats, guys. Wasn't able to perform the latest test. This is very sad, but the phone was with the case, and believe it or not, I think that it reached, wow, 51 Celsius. And of course also PerfDog stopped. It was going for so strong, but anyway, now let's analyze the data from PerfDog, and I'm gonna give this little precious phone some well-deserved rest. Alright guys, let's try to analyze what happened here. This is the 3D Mark. It died at around number 19, almost finished. First time I did the test, it was successful, but I did it without the case. And hence, with the case, the phone got heated and got to 51 Celsius, and eventually it died. That's not important. It's not important because we have captured the most important data thanks to WeTest PerfDog. Now, forget about the FPS, that's not so important as well. This thing here is very important. This is the average power consumption in milliwatts. Of course, it was also only on Wi-Fi. We have 8.5 watts power consumption, and this is really a lot, and this of course explains why the phone heated up. Now I want to show you something interesting. The first few rounds, you can see here, this is the representation of each individual round. It started off quite strong with delivering something like 37, 40 FPS, and then slowly going down. And let me show you something else that I believe is quite interesting. The CPU is not doing a lot, on average only 17.3, and this is kind of understood. And you can also see how it matches here, and it maps accordingly with the delivered FPS. What I do like here is that the FPS rate drops in a slow progression. There are no big drops, which means that the phone doesn't throttle so heavily. I guess this is a good curve, but let me show you something else. Forget about the CPU. See here what has happened to the GPU. It is almost 95% utilized. It runs all the time on almost 100%. And only here, I think towards like the 16th round, there was an issue and a drop, but then the phone recovered and it was using the GPU, the Adreno 830, like crazy. Now, I've measured 51 Celsius temperature on the surface of the phone, but see what has happened inside. And guys, this is interesting as well because we started off quite strong with like 95, 97. Then here I guess we lowered some FPS, and here some throttling occurred because the tempo was lowered to 92. Then here another one, and then from here to here, which I believe is like the 10th round to the 18th round, it was more or less stable, of course, until it died. And this here is one of the most important informations: 8,508 milliwatts, almost 9 watts of power that this phone is really drawing when it's doing this crazy test. And by the way, this is the average, because in the beginning we saw insane values. You can see it here. 17 watts, guys, dropping then quite, then again 12 watts, and then 11 watts. Insane. This is a lot. This isn't so great. This means that it's very power hungry, and of course this will generate a lot of hit. Of course, this was limited very shortly, so I guess only in the first few rounds the phone immediately tried to size down the power and go down from like 17 watts to, I would say, like 12, 11, and then at some point it was doing like 10, 11, 10, 11, 10, 11, and then here the first throttling occurred below 10 watts, and then here one more time the phone limited the power consumption to 8, and from here to here it was rather stable. So the average is 8.5 watts, but you can see that it was doing this almost like from round 10 onward. And this is the battery. We started with 53% and then went down to 43, and now I believe that we have even more information on how the Snapdragon 8 Elite latest Qualcomm chip performs in the body of the Xiaomi 15, one of the smallest flagship phones. I'm not sure if there's gonna be a lot of Snapdragon 8 Elite phones in such a small body, like 6.36 inches. If you like videos like this, guys, go and watch some of my other videos. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe. VST over and out.